So I'm waiting for you, Echo.
Game started.
All right, so we're here with another Clossi Approach to 23Q for the 13x13 section. We are here with another Clossi Approach video, and it looks like I'm black this game, so I'm actually going to get to start. So I've been talking about star points, so I'm going to start with a 3-4 point and then go for a star point. And I think that'll be fun. And then I could talk a little bit about the Shamari this game. Okay, and I'm going to play a star point. That way I can get my experience with the star point. But if you want to do 3-4 points or 2 star points, it's also fine. It doesn't really matter. It's just the whole purpose is just to gain more experience. All right, and now I'm going to make my enclosure. This is an open side as big as this one, so it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to play an enclosure, and this is making a Shamari shape with a 3-4. So I get my 4th line down to the 3rd line and get a corner enclosure. All right, so he approached me. So I am going to respond to this. The common response for an approach to a star point is just to go down like so. So I'm just going to play that. And then if he slides, I'm just going to block right here to block my base and my eye space and my space. And then if I get Sente or the initiative again, then I will go play another big move. So right now, he has the initiative, so I just have to respond to that. So he didn't slide, so I don't have to block. So it's nice. So he made his position, and I'm feeling pretty okay. So now I think, what's the next thing? Open corners. Good. Open sides. There's the left side, so I'm going to go in. Since it's my opponent's side, I'm actually going to go on the 3rd line. And you don't want to approach a Shamari, but you can approach a 3-4 point. So approach 1 space away. This is my common way to approach, and I'm on the 3rd line, so it's very nice and should be easy to handle. So now, immediately, my opponent's usually going to play, and now I'll have a weak stone or a weak group. So I'm going to focus on fixing that next. So he touched. So this is, we like to call this a kick, where it comes down and kicks your stone. The response to a kick is to go up. This also blocks white's tiger's mouth, so it's a nice shape. So you go up, and the reason you stay connected and not a 1-point jump is because he took a liberty. So we're going to walk up and just move away. We're going to play defense. Now we're going to wonder what he does. Kind of white's control right now. All right, so he's going to go up. So I can run away. I can push up. I can play a knight's move, and we'll talk maybe more about those in a bit. But the first thing I want to do is, if I can make a base, I'm going to try to make my base. So we'll talk more about bases on the 19x19. But the idea is I'm going to make some space on his side, and this will make my defense a little bit easier because I have some space to work with for eyes. And then, because he's all around me, I'm going to still try to jump up and escape. I'm probably not going to leave this just yet, because technically this is a box 4, which is only 1 eye. So if I get surrounded, I do need a few more stones. So just going to keep that in mind while I play. All right, so he's surrounding me here. So I can play 1 space jump here, or I can play 1 space jump here off that stone. I think both are fine. The idea is just start trying to escape while staying connected. That's the idea. Hane is possible, but that cut, while it's a ladder, he does get a free Atari right here or a free Hane right here. So Hane is probably not my ideal shape. I'm trying to think if I can just 1-point jump. So the one I'm worried about is a peep, connect, go down, I get caught. So I might just go here. I'm just staying connected. If you played a 1-point jump and you didn't see a way to get cut, that'd be fine. But the idea is I'm staying connected while trying to increase my space and threaten to get out, because I'm at step 2 of defense, which is run away. Step 1 is make some space. Step 2 is run away. And all the while watching your connections. But we're playing defense because we're getting surrounded. All right, so he is going here, so I'm going to keep trying to escape. And a tiger's mouth is a very nice shape here. I don't have a 1-point jump, so I'm just going to play this Hane. And it does lead to a tiger's mouth, so there is no cut. Tiger's mouths are great. And now I'm just going to try to walk out. All right, so he's here, so I watch my cuts. I'm good, so I'm going to go here. I don't think I can 1-point jump yet because technically he's taking a liberty of the stone. So usually you need liberties to 1-point jump. So I'm just going to play a Nobi. So I'm going to walk up and just play my defense. And just not get surrounded. All right. I think I need one more jump because if I draw a line in my head from this one to this one, it does look like I'm still behind the enemy. So I'm gonna 1 point jump one more time. And now I feel pretty comfortable. So now I can start thinking about ignoring as long as he doesn't play something directly on this group and go to another big move. All right. So now I don't have to play defense. So now I'm going to think big move. Open corners, no. Open sides, no. So now it's going to be largest framework. And I want to say it's blacks. So it's going to be largest framework or endgame. If it's endgame, then I'll start pushing the second line like here or here. But I think I can make a little bit in the center before I start endgame. This is also kind of really big though, because this is kind of my corner. But it's okay. I mean, like here, 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 any of those are all fine, honestly. Um, so I'm going to play this one. I'm not going to worry about counting for the biggest move because we're not likely going to play the biggest move at this level. We're just going to focus on playing a good move, regardless if it's the biggest or not. And then now I play this. So now I think we're actually about to start endgame. So now I would expect White to start reducing my position somehow. And so White's going to get the initiative and Yosei. And actually, I think White might be able to win this game. So White goes for the 3-3. This is one of the reasons I want to defend it. But it's okay. So here I have two options. I can push down and then block and kick him out. Or I can cut him off and destroy this area. So I think this one's pretty solid. So I'm going to actually cut here. And I'll go over the two options in the review and show you how they work. This is why we play the star point, though, is to learn more about these variations. This one is here. That's the response to that. But we play the star point to learn these variations. I don't expect the people watching this video to be able to do these variations immediately. It's just kind of what you want to work your way up to, and this is why we play mini games, is to give you more and more examples of how the star point works, because it's very important to learn how the 3-3 invasion works to the star point and what the common variations are with the star point, because they're very common. So we want to play them and make it happen, and then once we make it happen, we can learn how it all works together. Okay, and so he's just making life in the corner, no big deal. And you see how I'm damaging the H3 stone, which is quite nice. I'm going to block because I know that this is Sente because of the life and death. If it wasn't Sente, then I might just go reduce over here. But it is kind of really big to block here. Oh, ooh, he didn't fix. Oh, okay, so first, do I have any weakness? Okay, I'm alive over here. This stone's connected to the base over here. So I think every group is fine. So all this is a reduction for my points. There's no weaknesses. I don't really see any cutting points. I don't really see any way I'm not gonna have a base. So I don't see any weak groups or weak cutting points or something. All it is just points. Okay, so my defense, I'm good. All right, so now I can start thinking, okay, so now I'm good over here, so now I want to punish for him ignoring. If you don't see this and you just block, that's perfectly okay. Boink. It's okay if you don't notice this. I just know this because I've studied my 3-3 variations, and this is one thing you want to get to is you want to study the variations, and then if your opponent ignores, you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what to do now. But I always look for my weaknesses first. Just because they ignore doesn't mean it's not Sente. So sometimes they'll ignore and try to attack you. Defense first. Okay, so he played here. I'm just going to reduce the eye space. Bada bing, bada boom. And now I kill a corner. Yay! And this is a box 4. I know that is one eye, so I don't have to worry about it. And here is a cool lesson. This might be a little advanced, I don't know, but it's one important lesson. One stone on the first line does not change the eyes at all. You do not have to fix it. This only has to do with Yosei. But if it's dead on the inside, then there is no Yosei because it's dead. So I actually don't have to respond to this. So I'm going to think, where is a big move? And I think the big move is going into this area. So I'm going to go here. Okay. And now I'm going to think Yosei. So pushing the borders so I can block here. But I think second line is bigger than this area because I already have a stone to get half of it. So the other half is going to be probably smaller than Yosei. So I'm going to do my Yosei basics. Second line Sente. So
10.
boink. So just going to play some boinks. Second line Sente. Second line Sente. That's my endgame basics. This doesn't help him, but let's assume we make a mistake and just respond because we're not going to play perfectly, right? So we're not going to play perfectly. So let's just go ahead and respond here because I don't want to punish it too badly. So it's okay if you make a mistake. Oh, no big deal. Learn. You live and learn, right? Make a mistake. You respond to something you didn't respond to. Who cares? Just play basics. Just play basics. Just play basics. All right, he is trying to cut me, so defense first. I'm going to block my eye space. Defense first. Defense first. Okay, he's trying to cut me, so I'm going to connect my cut. Defense first. Defense first. I know I'm trying to play Yosei and I can jump in there, blah blah blah. And I'm sure the stronger players watching is like, can't you kill that whole position? Maybe, but the lesson here is defense first. Defense first. I know the strong players like, I wonder if I can kill this entire position right here. But defense first. That is the lesson. All right, so he blocked. Okay, I'm pretty defended, so now I'm going to go back to my Yosei. So I'll actually start with this one because this stone kind of, maybe does something. So second line, threaten. Now I'm going to Nobi down, not Hane, because I like Sente. Hane, he blocks, I have a cutting point, so I have to fix. So Nobi is better. Because Sente is better. Okay, and then let's see, I can push or I can jump. I think both are fine. I don't know. I don't know which one's better. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna go for the further one. I think they're both Sente, so I'm just gonna go as far as I can. All right, and now I think about a second line Sente, so now I'm gonna go first line Sente. So I'm gonna go ahead and go here because he can fix this one on Sente. So I'm just gonna go boink. Boink. And someone is asking about the difference in Sente between this one and stuff down here. The reason I'm not putting emphasis on one or the other is because we haven't learned how to count which one is bigger or think about the priority as an order. So I'm not focusing on the order of moves. I'm just focusing on making sure we play a first line move or a second line move in Sente. We'll worry about the order at higher levels, like the order of which one's bigger or which ones come first at the higher levels. So do we have a cutting point? Yes. Defense first. Just defense first. Defense first. Defense first. Can't stress it enough. Defense first, and then you can come back and do the second line cuts. All right, so now he didn't respond, so second line cut. 9x9 basics, cutting points. Don't forget your 9x9 basics. All right, so we're going to capture, and we break into this area. Okay, and I'm going to connect, defense first. All right, then I'm going to go for my next Sente over here. second line Sente, then first line Sente, always playing defense first. Okay, so he ignored. This doesn't affect me, so I'm going to keep going in. Boink. Boink. Alright, and this Hane is Gote. And I think the Nobi's also Gote. So I'm out of Sente moves, I believe. Maybe I can push right here, but I don't know if that's Sente. So now I'm going to play a big Gote move. So now I'm out of Sente moves. So it's first line, second line, push the border. But I think this one's Gote.
9.
This one
8,
might be Sente. I might get
7,
away with it, but I'm just going to play
6,
a big move, which
5.
is here to block. I think this block is bigger than this block. If you played this one, it's also fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's just I kind of know that this one's bigger, but it's okay. Not a big deal as long as you play. As long as you play defense and you're playing with value. As long as you're gaining value, it's okay if you don't play the best, most perfect move. Just gain value. Uh-oh.
Undo requested. Undo granted.
Yeah, Atari, you want to fix? And then I would fix my cut. And I just fixed my cut. So I was just Ataring real quick. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should just fix the cut, but I kind of did that with instinct. All right, so I don't have any weakness. This cut is a ladder, so I'm good. So now Sente, don't have any. This one, I believe, is Gote. Yeah, because if I cut, he runs Atari and then runs and
10,
it connects.
9,
so I'm just going to play a big move.
8.
Boink. Just play a big move. Just play a big move. Just playing a big move. Just playing a big move. Am I alive over here? Because that's a cutting point. So I'm gonna say no. I could play here, but yeah, no. I'm just gonna watch my ice face, stay connected. This one's okay. And I am watching my cutting points. If I thought I wasn't alive and I was gonna get cut, then I would go play B13 for life. So I'm kind of doing this really quickly, but at this point, I would have actually at this level, if I was actually this level, this move would actually make me pause for a bit, and it maybe would have even sacrificed the entire Byoyomi period to read this out if I was okay or not. I think it's very important that if you have to read something out, maybe sacrifice an overtime period and read it out. Just check and be confident. Just don't just play really fast without checking. So I want to say thank you for the game. Thank you for the game. And now I'm going to review.
Review started.
All right. So let's start from the beginning. I did this one. And so this one, again, I don't encourage you guys to play this one because if you saw in the game, I actually could have approached with support. And that maybe would have given me an advantage. But it's okay. Not that big of a deal. So he approached and I just play here. The normal move for white is to slide. This tries to steal some space, and I want to block my space. I can't block here, because if I block here, this Hane here and here actually gets my corner. So you can't do that. So you have to back off once, and then you can block. So that's the normal move, and then they come back and play that. And that would be more normal. So that's the idea there. But he played here, so I don't have to respond. So that's okay. And this actually can be considered a good strategy, because it leaves the 3-3 open. If I wanted to fix the 3-3, I could defend right here to kill the 3-3, or I can kick and then Nobi down. That also kills the 3-3, and that's a couple ways to defend that corner. But I'm still playing my basics, which is open sides. I can always do that later. That's just a big move for later. So I went and with the open side and played him left. So I played here, and he kicked, and now I switch gears. It's not big move, it's defense, because I have a weak group. So defense, I kick, normally you Nobi, because you lost a Liberty, you want to play on it. So Nobi, then you try to surround. So I could immediately just jump right here. So let's talk about how I arrived at that. So first off, I want space if I can. But let's say I didn't see that, and I just want to run away. So I want to run, so the first thing I can consider is a 1-point jump. Can I 1-point jump? And then in this case, no, because he just walks through me with support, and there's cutting points. And that's not good. Okay, so can I play here? Yes, I can. But usually pushing your opponent from behind is not good. and you see you're always one step behind. So you want to get ahead in order to escape. So the way you do that is you try to consider the knight's move. Okay, knight's move is a good way to get ahead when they already have a stone peeping the 1-point jump. However, there's a common pitfall. With a knight's move, you always have to check the cut. So you have to check this. So I read this, I check the ladder, and it works for me. If it didn't work for me, then I would push from behind and then play a knight's move to get ahead. And that usually fixes it. If it doesn't, then push one more and that should fix it. But the knight's move is the way if you can't, or just net. Net is also good here. If you can't play a 1-point jump and you want to get out, then if you are going to be pushing from behind, consider the knight's move. And if you can't do the knight's move, push once and then try the knight's move. And that's a good way to escape. It's a good escape tactic. So yeah, I think a knight's move here would have been perfectly fine. However, I do try to make space first, and on the 1919 we'll talk about bases before escaping, but that's fine. Either one I think would be fine for this level. Just escape or make some space. Both are fine. So he tries to surround me, and I wanted to... there's a couple options to consider here. The first one is can you Hane, but this actually does activate this cut, so I have to fix with like a net or something, or a ladder, or I fix directly. And you can see 2 just kind of prevents me from escaping. So I want to see if I can do something better. If I can't, I can't, right? If I can't, I'm just going to do it. So I tried to do a 1-point jump off of this stone. And this one actually would be fine at this level. There is a question though, like what is my plan for this? And that required me to read a little bit. And I was like, well, you're not supposed to read that much at this level. You're just supposed to read if you can connect or not. And this gets into an uncertain bit of territory right here. This gets into uncertain variations. And I think it's a little bit above this level, so I thought maybe if you saw this one, maybe you wouldn't want to play it. And I want you to trust your reading. If you don't see it and you say, I'm connected, I'm going to just jump, that's fine. I think this sort of idea is a little bit above this level, but I wanted to explain why I didn't 1-point jump. So I 1-point jumped here. Could have also considered here, but that's a knight's move, and I have to consider the cuts again, so usually 1-point jumps is my movement. So he plays, so I played right here and threatened another 1-point jump. So if he played something down here, I could just 1-point jump. And all I'm doing is trying to escape. I'm just playing defense. I'm not worried about big move. I'm just playing defense. So he plays right here. This one, of course, I can't 1-point jump because it's cut. So I have to play a Hane. And the Hane works perfectly here because it's a tiger's mouth. And notice how every single move, I'm trying to think, what is the shape that helps me get out while staying connected? And this is actually one, kind of the important lesson here. Every single turn, it's not about like, oh, I know this shape or that shape. It's about what is my mission? What is my goal? My goal is I'm trying to escape because my opponent's surrounding me. So I'm trying to play defense. But I want to escape while watching my cutting points. And so I'm trying all these different shapes and patterns in order to try to get further and further out from white's control and get closer and closer to my control. So I'm trying to get out with all these shapes while watching my cutting points. So that is why I'm actually playing these shapes like 1-point jumps and tiger's mouths and knight's moves. All of these shapes are just tools for me to try to help me escape. And it's okay if you don't know all the shapes. It's actually quite common to not know all the shapes. As long as you know some of the shapes and you try to be creative with what shapes help you accomplish that goal. The goal is the important thing. Get out, escape. The goal is what's important. So every single turn I'm trying to escape, but I'm watching my cutting points. So even though I'm playing good shapes and stuff, and maybe your shapes wouldn't be as clean or as fast or something, but that's okay. As long as you are accomplishing the goal, that's the lesson here. So here he went this way. He could have also turned right here, because if you notice, this actually can't be cut because that's an Atari, and then he fixes. So he actually can go right here, which tries to keep me behind the line. And then I'm forced to push from behind, because if I try my knight's move tactic that I just did earlier, boom, boom, check the cut, and you see it's an Atari. So that is not a cut. So I would have to be pushed from behind right here. Then if I try it, boom, 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 try to net or something, Atari again. So I'd have to push from behind again. And then if I try it, doon, 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 another Atari. So I still can't do it. And there's no ladder because of all the white stones. There is another trick to it. This one is not as important that you remember, but there is a trick if you want a knight's move, but you can't. Try like making an exchange, like threaten to cut the stone off, and then knight's move, and you can see that actually fixes it with a tiger's mouth. So there's more tricks to it. As you get stronger, you'll find more and more shapes to work with, more and more tricks to do it. But the goal remains the same, and that's what I want you to remember is the goal, and then you learn shapes to accomplish that goal. That's the lesson here. So he connected back, and that's perfectly fine. He's staying connected, and so I novied up to try to escape. And then he played here, and I said I could have played a big move, or I was talking about if I should play a big move or not. And I want to draw a line. I want to imagine this line to this line, or this stone to this stone, and that's where his control ends, right? Because after that, you get into my control. So I draw an imaginary line between that, and I ask, is my group on the line, or past the line, or under the line? And so you can see here, I'm actually under the line. So I consult my eye space. Is my eye space good enough? And I felt that it wasn't good enough. If you felt it was good, then trust your judgment and learn. It's okay to lose and maybe you die, but you learn more about the eye space, and maybe you ask for a review and ask someone to explain it to you, and then your judgment will improve as you gain experience and game reviews. But in this case, my judgment was I didn't feel very comfortable behind this line, so I wanted to jump out and go here. And so I did, and that's what I did, and I was just playing defense. And yeah, so he played a big move, and now I'm finally done with my defense. So now I'm done with defense. So now I want to think, where's the next big move? So open corners, open the sides, largest framework. So I think black's is the largest framework, so I built it. But I was also weighing this corner because if you draw a circle right here from this framework, you already have the edge. So you don't count the edge. You already have that edge. So I just draw the circle right here, and then we saw the 3-3 invasion, so I want to draw a circle right here. And you can see this circle is slightly bigger than this one, but it's really hard to make that distinction without more experience. So I was like, maybe you don't play the biggest move, right? Maybe you play the second biggest move. And I wanted to show you that it's okay. It's more important that you just gain value and gain experience, and you can train your eyes to see which one's bigger with more experience and more game reviews. But starting out, you're not going to be able to make that distinction, and that's fine as long as you gain value. That's the key here. So I played here, and white actually quite nicely jumped on top of this. I think maybe it would have been easier for white to simply play here, and then start Yosei. Here, second line, then maybe first line, maybe monkey jump even. First line, and then white actually is looking pretty decent if you do that. And then maybe even push the borders in Sente, you know? Push the borders in Sente. And then maybe white actually might have a good chance to win here. I think white had Komi as well. So white had a chance to win, I think. I didn't count it because we're not counting at this level, but it's close enough that I can't just look at it and know who's ahead. So I think that was the better plan for white. But white chose to go here. Now, this actually looks pretty nice because I'm just going to take the entire corner. But this is the other lesson from this corner, was when white lives in here, like this, you see how this stone got damaged? Now you lose all the points here. And white could have traded right here and lived, and that's another option, I guess. But it still damages this position, so I still get to take a lot of points. So that's one thing you have to be careful of. The other option for black is if you weren't damaging a position over here, the other option for black is to just block on this side somehow. Usually this is not the move. Usually it's here, and then black chooses either here, like that, or I choose here, and white slides like that. That's usually the normal variation. But if your opponent does that, I mean, it's fine. I think I probably could have countered white a little bit here by doing something like this, but it's fine. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe I could have done something. I don't know. There's a lot to consider, but it's fine. Just play defense. Your opponent does something you're not expecting. Just play defense, and then play strong, and it's fine. Yeah, just focus on defense and then get to the next big thing. Here, though, is where white made the game-losing mistake, which was white is supposed to go here. the life and death of this one is if I reduce, you play the 1-2 point, which is a very common Vita point. So if you're doing life and death problems, you might see this point a lot. And this actually makes it 1 eye right here and 1 eye right here. And if I try to take anything else, you get an eye in the corner. And if I try to play that, you can actually play right here. I go up because if I do anything else, there's an eye. So I go up and then you play right here. And this actually creates an eye on the side right here or an eye on the side right here. And so that's how this shape lives, and that's kind of the ins and outs. But this isn't really a life and death video. I just wanted to show you that. So this is kind of where white lost the game. But I also want to show you guys one of the variations I mentioned was if white played this monkey jump. So this is kind of an endgame Tsuji. Tsuji is kind of the sort of tactical play or situational shape. This one's optional to remember. It's very useful, but if you don't remember it, it's not the highest priority. The highest priority is like defense, cutting points, stuff like that. So the way this move works, is if you have a second line stone that's not blocked on the second line and they're on the third line, then you can play a large knight's move. So a knight's move is 1-2-1. So if you have a second line and you play a large knight's move to the first line, this is a common endgame Tsuji or endgame tactic. The response to this is to play on the head. If you do anything else, I'm just going to connect back. Like boop, boop, and then I capture a stone. If I try here, just boop, cut, cut. So it's not really possible to cut this stone off. However, there are shapes where you can be cut. Like for example, I don't have a good example here. There are shapes where you can be cut, and those you'll learn it with more practice. And when you can be cut, you just subtract 1, and it should be okay. But usually this can't be cut. If they're on the third line, you're on the second, and you just play a large knight's move to the first line. Usually it can't be cut. It's a very nice little tactic. The responses play on the head, and they have to back off, usually. There are some more shapes and patterns to learn, but just start with this information, and then you can add on more as you gain more experience. So if they don't back off, you can see I cut you off, and those stones are trapped in the corner. So you have to back off. And then the response is not really obvious, but it's actually to play here. But you have a second line cut. Oh no. But he didn't connect back. Atari, connect, and you're trapped again. So I play here, so you fix your cutting point, like here or here. This is fine. And you can get one more Atari. And then I fix my cutting point. And that's the way the monkey jump works. Now, the reason the monkey jump is so powerful is because you go so far into your opponent's area and you still keep the initiative. It's still white's turn. White gets to still do something else. So you get all that for free. If it's Gote, like let's say there was already a stone right here, and black had to block and you have to fix, and you see how now black has Sente. If it's Gote, don't play a large knights, play just a regular knights. And just and get one response. And then you can go play somewhere else. Sente is more important. If you don't remember the monkey jump, that's okay. It's just another shape to learn. Alright, so he played 3-3, and from here, I just decided to kill it. So remember here, I checked my weaknesses. I think the last thing I want to talk about is something near the end. Defense first. Defense first is super important, super important. I could have actually played a monkey jump here. This might have been better, but I think this was pretty much the same thing. So near the end, he played, I think a peep of some sort, yeah. So he played this move. This one I kind of played too quickly because I was in overtime. But one thing that actually is very common is it's very easy as the game goes on to forget about groups. This is a very common mistake. It's going to take several games where you forget and die before you start learning that, or before your brain starts remembering, check everything. So it's very important to remember that this 1-point jump was the escape route of the group. So I can't just fix this without looking at this. So when I remember that and when I keep that in my head, and it's really easy to forget that as the game progresses. But when I look at that, I have to always think, am I alive? Did I make enough eye space over here to be alive? And so let's read that. So if I play, he cuts, and I play here. I actually have an eye right here. So I'm actually alive if he does that. But can he take that in Sente? That was my concern. So if white plays here, and I fix, because I have to fix because this Atari, I connect, take. If I fix and then he cuts, am I alive? So if I try to make 2 eyes, he plays here. Throw in, that's 1 eye, right? If I play here, that's a bulky 5. So it looks like white can play 2 and Sente, and then threaten my life. So that is why I defended here. Now, if I saw that, or if I read that and decided to defend, that's okay. One thing I don't want you to do, though, is assume that you're alive because you have all these stones without reading it out. It's very, very easy to just assume that and forget about it, and then you play right here, and then your opponent switches the order on you and then cuts. And then you, oops, I died, right? That's a very common pitfall. It's a very common mistake. So make sure you keep track of your weaknesses for the whole game, and keep track of what your escape routes were, where your connections are. And when stones in that area get played, you have to recheck all that stuff. Every time the stones change in that area, you have to recheck the variations every single time. And this is a habit that will take a while to develop, and you're likely going to lose lots of games to do it while you're developing it. So don't expect to get this one right off the bat, this idea of don't forget about your groups or don't forget about your connections. But it is something that you will work up towards. So that's an important lesson from this one as well. All right, and so that's why I went here. White did resign. I do think black has more points, especially since this corner died. So hopefully, you guys do find this helpful, and thank you for my opponent who played and helped make this video possible, and hopefully you guys also found this helpful. I think I'm going to play a couple more 13 by 13 and then wrap up the 13 by 13 section. I think this is game 3, and I'll probably go to 5 games on the 13 by 13. And if you guys need me to in the future to play more 13 by 13 examples, I'm happy to add those on later on as well, and then add them onto the Clossi Approach playlist. But I'll probably go to 5 games for the 13 by 13 and then move on to the next section for 19Q on the 19 by 19. So this is game 3. I'll probably play 2 more games, and hopefully you guys are finding these videos helpful. Hopefully you're finding these shapes understandable. Just remember the big lessons, and then the minor lessons, just maybe watch the video again in the future. Just to take away the big lessons, which is defense first, watch your cutting points, and then learn how to move without getting cut. So yeah, hopefully you found this helpful. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.